Hello everyone. So today we will talk about how continuity, differentiation and integration behaves for a power series. We know for polynomials, but then let's do for the power series. So suppose let's see for the first theorem which is related with the continuity. So what does it says? If we have a series which is converging absolutely on this interval. So you have a power series centered at 0. I am talking about power series centered at 0, but this is also true for power series centered at any point A. So if you have a series which is converging absolutely with R as the radius of convergence. So since the series is converging absolutely, so this series also converges, we know. Then if you take any continuous function on this interval, then if you replace x by f of x, then whatever series you get, that also converges absolutely. So if you have a continuous function on that interval of convergence, then if you replace x by f of x, then that series also converges absolutely on this interval. So let's take an example so that the statement will be clear. So what is the example? So let's take the standard power series, geometric series. We know that 1 plus x square plus x raised to n plus so on. I know that this is a convergent series whenever our mod x is less than 1. Now if I take a function f of x equal to x square, is x square continuous in this interval? Yes. So if I replace x by f of x, that means 1 plus x square plus x raised to 4 plus x raised to 6 plus x raised to 2n plus this will also converges when mod of f of x, which is nothing but for all mod x square less than 1. But this is nothing but mod x square less than 1, but that is nothing but mod x less than 1. So when my mod x is less than 1, even this geometric series will converge. So I took the function x square which is continuous and I got this thing. So if I take f of x equal to minus x, then what will I get? Is minus x continuous in this interval? Yes, f of x equal to minus x, this is the line, it is continuous in this interval. So I get 1 minus x plus x square minus x cube plus x raised to 4 and so on. This also converges whenever your mod of f of x, which is minus x, is less than 1. But saying mod of minus x less than 1 is same as saying mod x less than 1. So whenever your mod x is less than 1, even the bottom series converges. So you take any continuous function over this interval and you replace your x by that function. What you get is a convergent power series. So that's one of the important thing. Again, like let's take something. Suppose if I take f of x equal to say 9x square. So what will I get? Over here 1 plus 9x square plus 9x square plus 9x square cube so on. This is the power series. It will converge whenever a mod f of x less than r, means mod of 9x square less than 1. To take out 9 outside, divide by 9. So mod x square less than 1 by 9 means mod x is less than 1 by 3. So if you take any x in the interval, open interval minus 1 by 3 to plus 1 by 3, this power series will converge. So if you have a power series with some radius of convergence and if you take the continuous function in that interval of convergence and then if you replace your x by f of x and your mod x less than r by mod f of x less than r, then still you get the convergent power series. So that's about the continuity. So how this continuous functions help us to get different series from a given series. That was the one thing. Second important thing is about differentiation. So what about differentiation I want to say is, suppose if you have a function which has this power series c0 plus c1x minus a plus c2x minus a whole square and so on. Suppose if you have a function which is nothing but which can be expressed as this power series, and suppose it has some radius, r is the radius of convergence, that means x a minus r to a plus r will be the interval of convergence. So suppose if you have this function as a power series, now question is, if I differentiate this function, then what will be the power series for this function, and whether the power series exists or not. If at all exist, what will be that power series, and if I get the power series, what will be the radius of convergence, interval of convergence, all those questions arises. So this is a very nice theorem which says that if you have a differentiable function, if the derivatives of the function exist in this interval. Which interval? A minus r to a plus r. If f and its all derivative exist in this interval, suppose let's play with one derivative. Suppose f dash exists in this interval, then the theorem says derivative of function is nothing but you take the derivative of power series. And what is the derivative of power series? You take term by term. So first term is c0. So derivative of c0 is 0. What is derivative of this? It is c1. What is this? 2 times c2 into x minus a plus 3 times c3 into x minus a square, and so on. So in short, it says that n cn x minus a raised to n minus 1. So this is what the power series will be for the differentiable function. If the function is differentiable in that interval, in this interval, then the derivative of function is nothing but the derivative of the power series. And how do you take the derivative of power series? Term by term. You differentiate each term of the power series, and that is nothing but the derivative of the function. So if a function has a power series representation over some interval of convergence, then its derivative will also have the power series representation, and this one is the nice representation. It is nothing some arbitrary. It is nothing but the derivative of this only, which is a very nice thing. And the same interval of convergence will work. So if you have a power series representation of a function, you can easily find the power series representation of its derivative. Why derivative? Why not derivative? You can also go for the double derivative. So suppose the function is twice differentiable in this interval, then f double dash will also have a power series representation, and it is nothing something arbitrary. It is nothing but precisely the derivative of this. N runs from 2 to infinity, n into n minus 1 cn x minus a raised to n minus 2. Why I am taking 1 and 2? Because when my n is 0, the first term is 0. Why I am not taking 0 and 1? Because when I take n equal to 0 and 1, this term is 0. So that's why I am starting with 2 onwards. That's the only reason. So if f is twice differentiable over this interval of convergence, then you can differentiate this function and it will have a power series representation, which is nothing but the double derivative of the power series. Similarly for f triple dash, f fourth derivative, fifth derivative, and so on. So that's how the derivative behaves with a power series. So let me take an example which will clear the theorem. So suppose if you have, we know that the geometric series 1 upon 1 minus x, this has the power, this is a function, and this has the power series representation. This is true when your mod x is less than 1. So I know that this is a geometric series which converges to 1 upon 1 minus x for mod x less than 1. So if I want to differentiate this, so what is derivative of this? Minus 1 upon this, so it is 1 upon 1 minus x whole square. And what is derivative of this is 0. 1 plus 2x plus 3x square. So this function is also having a power series representation, which is nothing but the term by term differentiation. So 1 ka derivative is 0, x derivative is 1, x square 2x, and for mod x. So if you know the power series representation of a function, you can and if the function is differentiable in this interval, then you can take the derivative, then the derivative of that function will also have a power series representation, and that power series representation is nothing but the derivative of this. So that's a very good thing we have. Again, since this is again differentiable in this interval, so if I differentiate this is nothing but 2 upon 1 minus x cube. This will also have a power series representation, and it is anything arbitrary. It is actually this, which is 2 plus 6x plus 12x square plus so on for mod x less than 1. So you put the value of x over here, what you get answer? Suppose if I take x equal to 0, if I put x equal to 0, what is the answer? 2. If you put x equal to 0 here also, what you get answer? 2. So you take any x in this interval, you put in this power series, you will get the same answer, you put x over here. So that's the good thing about this theorem. So if the function is differentiable, you differentiate the function and you differentiate the power series, both the things are same. The only thing is your function should be differentiable in the given interval of convergence. So that's why finding interval of convergence is a very important thing, because once you have the interval of convergence, you can do all the nice things in that interval of convergence. So that's one thing. And let's go for the final step, with final theorem, which is nothing but integration. So how power series behaves with the integration is the same thing. If you have a function which has a power series representation, and if I want to integrate that function, so suppose if you have a function which has a power series representation for all mod of x minus a less than r. So if you have a function which has this power series representation where r is the radius of convergence, and if I want to integrate this function, integration f of x dx is same as that means if I want to is same as nothing but the integration of the power series over this interval of convergence. That means you can interchange this summation and integration. There is another way of saying, but I am avoiding that phrase. I can interchange this over interval of convergence. I cannot interchange outside the interval of convergence, but I can do this in the interval of convergence. But okay, that's a different way of looking at it. But anyways, what I'm interested in is if you have a function which has a power series representation, then over this interval of convergence you can do the integration of the function. Then the integration of function will also have the power series representation. Moreover, that power series representation is not something arbitrary. It is precisely the integration of this power series, and you can integrate term by term, and the same interval of convergence will work. So plus c, since this is an indefinite integral, plus constant will come into the picture. So this is what integration theorem says. So let me take an example. Suppose I want to find the power series representation for tan inverse x. So I know that if I integrate 1 upon 1 plus x square, I get tan inverse of x. So what I will do is I will try to find the power series representation for 1 upon 1 plus x square. Do I know the power series representation of 1 upon 1 plus x square? Not directly, but indirectly I do know. So now I know the power series representation for 1 upon 1 minus x, which is nothing but this. So now I will use our continuity theorem. So what I will do is we will replace our x by minus x square, which is a continuous function. So what does the continuity theorem say? So you replace your x by minus x square, you get the same power series, and here you replace your x by f of x, so which is same thing, minus of x square, but this is same as mod x less than 1. So this is the power series representation for 1 upon 1 plus x square. Now you integrate the function. So if I integrate dx, integration of this dx, then I can, in this interval of convergence, let's take 0 to x, because otherwise that constant will come into picture. So if I do this, this is what tan inverse of x 0 to x, tan inverse x minus tan inverse of 0 is 0, so that will not come. And if I integrate x minus x cube by 3 plus x5 by 5 minus x7 by 7 and so on for all mod x less than 1. So by using this technique of integration and continuity, I could find the power series representation for tan inverse of x. So what I have used, I have only used the power series representation of a geometric series. I knew the geometric series, which is 1 plus x square converges to 1 upon 1 minus x for mod x less than 1. Then I took the help of the continuity function minus x square. So I got the power series representation for 1 upon 1 plus x square. And then I simply did integration both sides. And I am using definite integral 0 to x. Why 0 to x? So that the constant will not come into the picture. So the last line which I have written, that is the power series representation for tan inverse of x. But this is only true for mod x less than 1. Means what? You take any x in this interval, you replace that x over here, or you replace x over here, you both get the same answer. For example, you take x equal to 0. What is tan inverse of 0? 0. You put x equal to 0, 0. So 0 equal to 0. If you put x equal to pi by 4 or whatever, you take any x in this interval and you put both the side, you get the same answer. And like this you can derive many good series. But anyways, my main aim is to tell you the integration can be done. Let's take one last example. Let's find the power series representation of log. In one of my lecture, Riemann rearrangement theorem, I derived the series. I wrote the series for log 2. Let's try to derive the series for log 2. So I know that the power series for 1 upon 1 minus x, which is 1 plus x square and so on. Now what I will do is, if I replace my x by you take f of x equal to minus x. So what I get? 1 upon 1 plus x equal to 1 minus x plus x square minus x cube and so on. For mod of minus x less than 1, but this is same as saying mod x less than 1. So here I have applied continuity theorem and I got this as a power series. Now you again do the integration. If I do integration from 0 to x, integration 0 to x, what is this? ln of 1 plus x from 0 to x. This is x minus x square by 2 plus x cube by 3 minus x4 by 4 and so on. This is also true for mod x less than 1. And what will I get over here? Ln of 1 plus x minus ln of 1, which is nothing but 0. So I'm not writing that, which is nothing but x minus x square by 2 plus x cube by 3 minus x4 by 4 and so on. So this is the power series for ln of 1 plus x. So no, I can't get the power series for ln of 2 because my x is not equal to 1. So anyways, so this is what my power series is. So if I put x equal to 0, you can observe my right hand side is also 0, left hand side is also 0. So like this you can get the power series for this. If I put x equal to 1 by 2, I will get what is the power series, what is the series for ln of 3 by 2. Because if I put x equal to 1 by 2, I will get ln of 1 plus 1 by 2, which is ln of 3 by 2 and which can be expressed as a series. Try to find for ln of 2 plus x, that's the homework. Try to find ln of 2 plus x. What is the power series? Take the help of this series. Try to get 1 upon 2 plus x ka power series and then integrate and then try to see what you can do. So this is all about power series. Not all about, actually power series are the basic building blocks for Taylor series, and Taylor series are used everywhere. Like it's one of the very important topic. But anyways, in future I will take out the lectures on Taylor series, as if now this is the last point in power series. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you.